So today we are sticking with averages. I am going to start by taking this set of data. I asked a number of students before closure how many brothers and sisters they had. So some of them had one brother or sister, some were an only child. There were a few who had 4 brothers and sisters, so there were 5 children in their households. Goodness me, I'm going to work out the mean of this set of data, okay? And to work out the mean, I need to add up all the values. So I've got my fancy calculator here. I'm going to add up all these values and divide by how many there are. So here we go. 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus... Oh, hang on. Have I done that? All right, I've done that wrong, haven't I? Okay, let's start again. Okay. 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus... Oh, hang on. Oh, I've made a mistake. Oh, this is so boring. There's got to be a better way than to do this. Well, and there is. And that's what today's lesson is all about. A quick way of working out the mean for a large set of data. And although this isn't a particularly large set of data, you can use it to work out the mean for a massive set of data. So some of you may already see where we're going with this. I'm going to ask you to tally up these results into a tally chart. Okay, so and I think when you tally, and I apologize if you feel like I'm patronizing you, but I think when you tally, rather than going through and counting all the zeros and going through and counting all the ones, I think it's better to go through the data one at a time. So that's somebody with 1 brother and sister, that's somebody with no brothers and sisters, that's another person with 1 brother and sister, that's someone with 2, and that way you know you're not going to miss any out. So I'm going to pause the video now, get you to finish that tally chart for me, and then we'll compare notes in a moment. Okay, so I hope you and I agree. I just did a quick check. I crossed them out as I went, but I also added up how many there were. There were 22 values, and when I added up my totals, I got to 22. And I'm sure you're familiar with tallying. Now, I have to tell you that we never talk about tally charts in maths anymore. What I've done is I've turned my tally chart into what we call a frequency distribution. So can you see where the frequencies here are just my totals from here? So those values there have come down to become my frequencies here. And so we talk not about tally charts at this level, but we talk about frequency distributions. It's the same thing. It's just a tally chart where you can't see the tally marks. Frequency distribution, how are the frequencies? So frequency is how frequently, how many people had no brothers and sisters, how many people had 1 brother and sister, how they are distributed between those values. Okay, so it's a lot easier for me now to work out the mean. If I remind you, to work out the mean, we add up all our data, add up all our brothers and sisters, and we divide by how many values we've got. And that bit I already know because I added up. I've got 22 people. So I know I'm dividing by 22. 22 is the total of all my frequencies, isn't it? What I don't know is what all the number of brothers and sisters add up to. So I'm still going to have to get my calculator. And here we go. So I've got 3 people with no brothers and sisters. So 0 plus 0 plus 0. I've got 9 people with 1 brother and sister. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. I hope at this point you are screaming at the screen, don't be a doofus, there's a much quicker way of doing it. And of course there is, isn't there? Because I can easily add up all the brothers and sisters using multiplication. So I've got 3 lots of nothing. That's nothing. Just be careful there. It's easy to put 3 there. It's not. 9 people with 1 brother and sister, so that's a total of 9. 5 people with 2 brothers and sisters, so that's 10 brothers and sisters in total. 3 people with 3 brothers and sisters, so that's 9. And 2 families with 4 brothers and sisters, so that is 8. And if I then add those values up, so 0 plus 9 plus 10, that's 19, plus another 9 plus 8, That gives me 36 brothers and sisters. So that is my total. 36 is what I would have got had I persevered at the beginning and added up all my numbers. This, although we've taken a while to get to it, this is a quicker way of doing it, and more importantly, it's a way where you can avoid mistakes. So 36 divided by 22, and this is often the problem with the mean, isn't it? You get a funny value, and we're talking about numbers of brothers and sisters. You can't have a decimal number of brothers and sisters really, but I'm going to round it to one decimal place. So, and I'm going to put 1 dp, one decimal place, just to show that's what I've done. It's 1.6, if I show my calculator, it's 1.636363, that's 1.63 recurring. So I've rounded it to 1.6. Now, there's a couple of mistakes that are easy to make with this sort of thing. If you've got 0 in your frequency distribution, which we haven't always, remember that that's going to be 0. And the other thing is the sum you do at the end is the total of all the, in this case, brothers and sisters, divided by the number of people we asked, 36 divided by 22. People often make the mistake of doing it the other way around, 22 divided by 36, because that's the order the numbers are in the chart. But you've got to remember that they need to be swapped over. Now, while we're here, we can also work out quite easily the mode. That's the most popular result. So the mode, what number of brothers and sisters was most common? Well, there were 9 families that had 1 brother or sister. So the mode was 1. It's important to realise why it's 1 and not 9. Okay, so the mode is the number of brothers and sisters which is most popular. 1 was the number of brothers and sisters that was most popular because there were 9 families that had that. Don't forget that as well as the averages, we've also got the range, which is a way of a measure of the spread of results. So the range is the biggest value, take away the smallest value. Again, we need to make sure we're using the right numbers. It's not 9 take away 2. We're looking in the wrong place there. What was the family with the most brothers and sisters? Well, that was 4. And what was the family with the fewest brothers and sisters? That was 0. So the range is 4. So we can work out the mean and the mode and the range really easily. What about the median? Well, the median's a little bit trickier. We will talk about the median in a subsequent lesson, but for now, I'm going to give you some practice at finding the mean, the mode, and the range from a frequency distribution. Okay, so here are the questions I'd like you to have a go at. The first one, here's a frequency distribution showing how many hot drinks a number of people had yesterday. So this is very much like the one we did in the video earlier with brothers and sisters. I'd like you to find the mean. That's the one where you've got to do the multiplication. And also the mode and the range. Look back at the video to remind yourself how to do that. The second question, this often happens in textbooks because it's much easier to print this than it is this. If they give you a frequency distribution that's done this way, the first thing I always do is I copy it out again. So this is pets. I've got my frequency, so I would put it into a frequency distribution like that. 0, 1, 2, 3, fill in the frequencies, 5, 12, 6, 2, and then I just do it just like that one and like the one we did on the video earlier. So I don't like them done like that. I always turn them from rows into columns. So I'd like you all to have a go with that, and you'll find the answers on the second page of that attachment. Some of you will find that quite easy, so here's a little bit of a challenge for you. Mr. Godber and I, when lockdown was eased slightly, we had a game of golf. I don't know if any of you have played golf before, but when you play golf, you play 18 holes of golf, and this is the number of shots Mr. Godber and I took. Now, we did actually play a game of golf. These weren't the results. I mean, these results show Mr. Godber got 2 holes in 2 shots. Now, neither of us ever get holes in 2 shots. We're not good enough. But anyway, let's pretend it is. So when you play golf, you want to do it in as few shots as possible. Less shots, better golfer. So what I'd like you to do is, using the techniques we talked about in this video, looking at Mr. Godber's data. So he took 2 shots on 2 holes, 3 shots on no holes, 9 holes, he took 4 shots, etc., etc. And looking at my data, I'd like you to decide who did better. I hope you're going to be able to use the mean and probably the range as well to decide who did better. And on Monday, I'm going to start the video by talking about how I would have answered that question. So the answers to 1 and 2 are on the back of the sheet, on the second page of the sheet. There aren't answers for question 3, but if you feel confident you'd like to have a go at it, please do, because I'm going to talk about that in the video on Monday. Okay, take care.